Hey, what's up and welcome. It's Friday, which means we're doing our normal weekly Q&A, but we're also doing a new feature roundup. That's right, I'm going to be digging into several new features that I've found in Fiverr, I've been talking about with other people, and we're going to talk about those new features and your questions right now. Feels like every time Friday rolls around, I'm just rip-roaring and raring to go with your questions. But today I've got something super exciting to talk about first, and that is we've reached 10,000 subscribers right here on this channel. I wanted to stop and say thank you, because this has more to do with you than it does with me. So many of you have shared how helpful this channel has been, how many times you have shared it with other people. So I just wanted to stop and say thank you. Drop me a comment down below and let me know what kind of a celebration you think we should do for 10,000 subscribers. Our next mark, 100,000 and beyond. Let's do it. And today, instead of just talking about how many subscribers we've got here now, we're going to be talking about several new features. I've got 3 new features and 5 top questions that I found in the comment section from you all. So let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into it. But before we do, I almost forgot this. Let me remind you, you can leave a question down below for next week's video. I do this every Friday if you're new, so don't miss out on the opportunity to leave me your question down below. So the very first feature that I wanted to talk about is something that Fiverr's rolling out in a beta mode to, I don't know how many sellers. They haven't told me how many. They haven't given me any special insight, but I was invited, and I know it's a new feature that they're going to allow certain sellers to display top clients on their profile and gig pages. Now you might be asking, what's that look like? How does that work? Well, when the invitation was sent to me, I was given the opportunity to add up to 5 notable clients that I had worked with in the past and provide their names, their website information, a little bit of information about the project, and then that information was sent off to Fiverr's verification team. I don't know what you would call them, but the people that are looking over these things and kind of policing all of this process to then manually approve and later appear on my profile and or gig pages. Now, I've asked several people within Fiverr, how will this be displayed? How will this be verified? Because it says right in the application that they're not going to be contacting these people asking them, hey, did these sellers actually do any work for you? You know, what was it like? So I'm not sure exactly what they're waiting for or how they're verifying these things, but I have been told and shown that it will appear on your profile page. So fiverr.com/your username, it will appear on there, and then it will also appear at the top of your gig, the gigs that you are offering kind of in the categories that you've worked with these clients in. It'll appear right up next to where the repeat business badge might appear if you have that. So right underneath your gig title, right above your gig video. So I think this is really exciting because for those of you that get invited, those of you that have some really cool clients that you've worked with in the past, you'll get to showcase that to potential buyers, and it will just give them this nice warm and fuzzy feeling that, hey, they've worked with these companies or this brand, and I know that I can trust them if they did. You know, brand recognition, portfolio of work, and also list of past clients are some of the greatest reasons why a potential client would choose you over someone else. So if you are invited to use this feature, make sure you take full advantage of it. Put your top 5 best and most notable clients on there for approval as soon as you possibly can, so they can start appearing on your gig pages. And for those of you that are going to ask, no, I don't know when the criteria is going to be opened up to more people. I don't know what criteria they're judging you on. I just know that they're kind of probably not randomly, but they are selectively, we'll say it that way, selectively sending this option out to certain sellers. So keep your eyes open. The next feature I want to talk about is something that I've learned about just recently, and that is that there has been a change to the way that you can modify or manage your promoted gigs within the promoted gigs category. So if you've been invited, again, this is an invite only kind of thing right now. If your gig has been approved and invited to be involved in Fiverr's paid promotion, meaning you're paying for clicks and ultimately paying for purchases, the paid promotion program, you can now set your promotion limit to auto mode, giving it a no cap in the promoted section. Now, I'll try to explain this pretty simply in a fairly short amount of time. Essentially, when you're promoting a Fiverr gig, you have to place a bid, as they call it, on how much money you're willing to pay for a click, so that when a customer who fits that criteria comes up, the algorithm looks at all the people who are promoting gigs in that category that might be a good fit, and it finds the person with the highest bid and chooses them to display for the promoted ad. Now, the hard thing is you have to know, A, how much am I willing to spend for that click and kind of have an idea of that, and how much is it worth? How much do you need to bid to outbid others? But with this auto mode, this no cap mode, Fiverr basically up to $3 per click, that's the cap. Fiverr basically bids for you, meaning that if you're running in no cap mode and you're a good choice, then it will bid as high as it possibly can. Now, that could be a good thing because you might win more bids and actually get more traffic, or it might be a bad thing because it will spend more of your money. You have to decide how you're looking at promoted gigs and how much money you're willing to spend, how much of your daily spend are you willing to give up per click. But if you're worried about winning more of those paid promotion opportunities, then the no cap auto mode is for you. Personally, I'm trying it out right now. I'll let you know how the reviews, how it goes and how the results are. I'm actually planning a video where I talk more about promoted gigs. I've done a past video on it. I want to do a refresher because I'm running some again. I've been on again, off again. I'll share all that with you in a later video, but know that there are new features out there. So if you're running promoted gigs, go check them out. The third and final feature that I want to mention that's brand new on Fiverr is only going to be for some of you because it's something that not everybody has been invited to. Again, yet another thing, but something that not everybody has chosen to be involved in, and it's a part of Seller Plus. Now, I've been pretty public in the comments and in other places that I'm trying Seller Plus out right now. I know I made a video that said, I don't think you need Seller Plus. I don't think it affects you the way you think it does, as long as you're learning and doing the best you possibly can. But I was curious. After a couple of months of letting it run and get started, I heard that Fiverr was hiring a lot of success managers to work with new people who are using Seller Plus, and I was curious about the new analytics, so I signed up to see what all the fuss was about. And I'm happy to report that I now have a new US-based, in my same time zone, in Orlando, Florida, success manager. His name's Noah. Shout out to Noah if you're watching the channel. And I had a meeting with him this week. I found it really helpful. He didn't tell me a ton that I didn't already know, so I can tell you that experience trumps a success manager if, in fact, that's what you're looking for. And a lot of what we talk about on the channel is what he and I talked about. But he had some really cool insights and in telling me how things are working, not just helping me understand what happens when you do certain things on the platform, but why behind those things. I think that's really important for me to understand, and maybe for some of you as well. And something that he emphasized to me is that Fiverr really wants people in the Seller Plus program to take advantage of a new feature called Seller Coupons. Now, seller coupons are not what you might think. They're not coupons that you can hand out that Fiverr is giving to your buyers. No, they're coupons, they're discounts that you're giving on your rate to buyers to entice them to buy again. So at first I thought, oh, coupons are an awesome idea. Let's use this. And then I realized that you're giving coupons out of your cut. So you're giving people a discount on your rate. Fiverr is not giving people a discount and letting you hand those coupons out. So know that it's not maybe what it seems, and I was a little disappointed in that. But Seller Plus members have the opportunity to send out 10 coupons a month to buyers that have left them either a 4-star or a 5-star review. And the whole idea is you want to send coupons to people that you've had a good experience with, offer them a little discount to come back and buy again, because then that helps your repeat business score. Now, I know if you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, you're saying, yeah, but Joel, you're against giving discounts to buyers as an enticement to bring them back. And you would be absolutely right. I have been in the past. And I think for the most part, it smells of a bit of a gimmick when you do something like that. But I've tested out these coupons to see what's going on. I sent 10 my first month. And I actually had one customer out of 10 come back and say, hey, I'm thinking about setting up another gig since I've got this coupon from you. Let's go ahead and do this. this. So it's hard to know whether he would have done that had he not received the coupon or if the coupon urged him there. I gave him a 5% discount. So that was the minimum, very small, just testing it out. But I did get a 10% return on those 10 coupons sent out. I'll probably test them again next month just to see how it goes. But that's a new feature for those of you that are signed up for Seller Plus and want to really build your repeat business, repeat buyer statistics. So possibly that could help you, but know that you have to pay $30 a month, $29, I think to be exact, to be in the Seller Plus program to begin with. So weigh it out and decide whether it's worth it or not for you. Okay, those are the only 3 new features I wanted to talk about. I didn't really think any of those were worth a full video, so I thought I'd mention them right here while I've got your attention. Now, Friday's videos are so popular and they're so cool, and now I've got 5 questions. I picked 5 of the best things I don't think we've talked about before, things I think you will really get a kick out of. So here is question number 1. Question number 1 from Lukaja. Lukaja asks, I've been on the top of my search category since the start, but ever since I became a level 2 seller, somehow Fiverr placed me way down. I changed my description a bit, which helped for a few weeks, but now again, I'm placed down. It really affects my impressions. I don't think I did anything wrong with my clients. I have a lot of regulars and repeat buyers. So is there any advice on why you think this might be happening? Well, Lukaja, I'll just tell you that the one thing I've learned specifically over the last couple weeks is that more than likely what is affecting your search results and rank is you going in and messing with that description. And it's not because changing or updating your description knocks you down in the search results. People all the time say, oh, I changed something and it knocked me out of the search results. Here's how it works. This is straight from the mouth of Fiverr. When you change something in your gig description, change something in your tags, your keywords, your title, when you change something about your gig, the algorithm needs to re-index your gig, meaning it needs to take some time to look at it, decide if the changes you've made are beneficial or change the results that you're going to be searched for or the result for, and decide whether or not those changes are positive or negative, and then replace you back in search results. So, essentially, if you make a small change, it will pull you out of search just for a short time, a very short time, to re-index and reanalyze your gig. And once it realizes what has changed, it adjusts you in the rankings accordingly. Now, I also know that Fiverr has something they call the carousel result system, meaning that it's not like Google, where once you have the top ranked position for a set of keywords, you stay there until somebody knocks you off. No, it's not like that. They have a carousel system where people are constantly being rotated, put in different places. You know, it's not as though they're going to knock you from page 1 to page 7 as a part of the carousel system, but there is rotation, so there's a flow to it. So those two things combined lead me to believe that you were doing a little bit too much dabbling in your description, meaning that if you changed one thing, waited a day, changed another thing, every time you change something, it's re-indexing, pulling you out just so it can check it and then put you back in. So changing things is not detrimental to your gigs. It actually can be very beneficial, but you have to do it wisely. You have to be smart about it. You have to be calculated when you're changing things and make sure that you're changing a few things at a time, waiting so it doesn't keep you out of search results long enough to make a difference. And maybe that's what's happened in your case. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't believe there's anything affecting your search results that has to do with leveling up to level 2 from level 1. That's just coincidence. So hopefully that was helpful. Our next question is from Kristen Holt. Kristen is a regular here, and she says, I've got a spokesperson and product video gig, and I get a lot of requests for a phone chat to discuss details before proceeding with a project. I often do them, and they usually work out because they've invested time, so they end up buying. Just curious how you handle this situation. Kristen, this is a really good question and a really, what I'll call a precarious situation, because what I heard from Fiverr several years ago is that they wanted you to have a gig in place, an order in place, before you hopped on a Zoom call or a phone call. It seems that things have relaxed a little bit because I know a lot of buyers, including myself, who will often send a Zoom, have a Zoom chat with somebody before a project begins. I think that on larger gigs, they're more tolerant of sellers that do that. I've not heard if anyone's been given trouble about doing that before an order is in place, even though Fiverr told me years ago you need to have an order in place or a special order for those video or phone consultations before you do them. Personally, I make it pretty easy. I use the calendar plugin Calendly. It's a free plugin. It connects to my Google Calendar. I just send them a Calendly link. They can choose the time on my calendar, and it will automatically generate a Zoom link for us to jump on there together and talk. But I agree. I think that as a salesperson, though I don't consider myself a salesperson, I'm a creative who has to sell to stay alive, which all of us are here on Fiverr. I think as a salesperson that a phone conversation or a Zoom consultation always ups the investment from the buyer. And that's because every time you make a personal connection with the buyer, your chances of closing that sale increase. So that's why we always talk about ask questions in your messages, be personal, use names, because you said it right, they've invested time, but they're also getting invested in you as a seller. And as long as there are no red flags, they have more incentive to buy from you after that. So I'd say keep doing that, keep talking to people, because it does help the more you get to know a customer even before the sale. Thanks for the question, Kristen. Our next question comes from Andrew. Andrew says, hey, Joel, I'd love to know if you're at all able to share your personal rated order review percentage and perhaps how you deal with buyers who don't leave a review and ignore you after following up. Thanks. Andrew, this is a really good question. I've tried to keep track of these stats. There is a stat in your dashboard for this, so everybody should know what their percentage of rated orders is. Mine has hovered around 75% for about 10 years. It's really never changed. I've never been much higher or much lower. It goes up a little, down a little, but it's been around 75%, so 3/4 of my gigs are reviewed. I used to do a lot of follow-up and asking, but then Fiverr got really tight about talking about ratings and reviews and requesting them and all that. So I stopped that. These days, I don't do any follow-up. All I do is ask people to leave me a rating in my delivery message or when I re-deliver with revisions. So I would say, really, maybe as a rule of thumb, 50%, over 50% would be what I would shoot for to hope to have more than 50% of your gigs rated, because obviously every rating, every review is gold. It really helps your standing. I think if you're down below 50%, 30, 40% rated and reviewed, that has that's a bad sign. It might mean that you're not doing high enough quality work or something's not right with your gigs. But I would say over 50% is probably pretty good. Now, when it comes to people not leaving a review, there's not a whole lot you can do other than just emphasize how important it is and that you want them to in the delivery message. The pushier you get, the closer you get to that line where Fiverr's not okay with you hassling a buyer for a rating. So be careful with that, but just be upfront and be clear about how much it's helpful to the platform, not to you, to the platform, so everybody can see who the best buyers are, who those that are struggling are, and help buyers or sellers know when they need to improve something because they didn't provide a great service. Hey, thanks for your question and thanks for watching. I have a fourth question from Franco. I love this question. Franco says, hey, thanks for sharing your knowledge and experiences. Well, you're most welcome, Franco. He says, I've got a question. I'm a top-rated architect, and since my kind of projects usually take me several days of work, I typically only complete no more than 3 or 4 orders per month. Economically speaking, it's profitable for me, but I noticed that the platform benefits more and gives you more exposure when you compete with many orders per month regardless of the cost of each sale. How do you think I should approach my gigs so that my account looks more dynamic? I work a lot, but with so few orders, although they're profitable, it looks like my account is almost dead. Franco, this is a great question to be asking. This is one we've talked about in a video before about the strategy of your gigs and your pricing and whether you want to be high quantity, low cost or high cost, low quantity. They're two different edges of the same teeter-totter, the same seesaw. what I would advise you to do is look for a way, leave what you're doing in place because it's obviously working for you. You're just trying to get the algorithm to notice you more, have more gigs in there. The problem is when you only do four orders a month, if there's a misunderstanding and someone needs to cancel for any reason, your cancellation rate drops to 75% if you lose 1 out of 4. That's a lot. So you need to have more gigs at a lower price so there's more turnover so that just in case something happens, your fault or not, that cancellation percentage and your other order completion percentages stay high enough to rank you well in the search rankings and the algorithm. So what I would say is keep what you're doing in place, but look for a low cost service that's related that you can offer. Something very low cost that can be high quantity. Okay, so low cost, high quantity rather than the high quality, low quantity that you're doing right now, the higher cost, low quantity that you're getting 3 or 4 orders a month with. Look for something that is what I would call a high turnover gig. Lots of orders, lower price, something that will keep you competitive and make it look like your account is more dynamic. I love the way you're thinking. I think your head is right on straight. You just need to look for a way to maybe offer something that appeals to a broader range of people to keep your stats up and won't be as economically profitable, but will ultimately help your account. Great question. And our last question comes from Wendy Noble. She asks very pointedly, how do I fire a client? Whew, I love this question. She describes a scenario that she has going on. She says, I have a client who orders a blog article from me once a month. He's always super vague about what he wants. He publishes on a particular website that has its own editors, so I get random requests weeks after I've sent him an article to revise. Because he doesn't clearly communicate what he wants, this usually means a complete rewrite. He's happy to pay for these revisions, but it's just a pain in the butt. Wendy, I totally get you. I probably know this guy and have worked for him. And if not this guy, a guy just like him or a gal just like him, because these clients exist. I would say there are two sides to this coin. The question is, how do I fire a client? The answer is, A, you don't fire clients, you just try to attract only the clients you really want to work with. So that happens before the purchase. But for a guy like this, I would say you need to set stricter parameters. And if he's paying for the revisions, who cares about the pain in the butt? Cushion your butt with some money that you're making, girl. Like, who cares? As long as he's paying for these revisions, that's more business. That helps your repeat business score on Fiverr. That's a good thing. You know, that's a model as a part of my business. You know, people come back weeks and months after we do something for them. And because we have policies about revisions and it only is within 2 weeks of when we deliver, they pay for those. So they're now a repeat customer. It's repeat business. So that helps you. Even though it might be a little bit of a pain, you just need to have processes in place that you're comfortable with. Like, I'll make this level of edits, this level of revisions with this time frame, and after that, you're paying for it. You need to get me any requests within this time to be included. All this stuff, I think it really would help you to have better defined policies around your revisions and your service. And if you do, then keep doing what you're doing. And if he's paying for them, don't worry about it so much. On the other side of things, like I said before, I think we all need to think about the clients we attract with our pricing and our services. So the service we offer, the product we offer, and the pricing we offer it at determines who we work with. And this kind of goes back to Franco's question. When you're on a high turnover gig, you're going to get a lot more crabby people. The less people pay, the more demanding they are. But I found that those higher price clients, people that are willing to pay more, are typically more understanding. They get how the world works. They're easier to work with and more professional. That's not a perfect rule across the board, but it does seem to hold a lot of truth in my experience. So maybe that'll help you in your gig, and maybe that'll help you with this client that's a bit of a pain in the butt, but keep making that money and don't worry about it so much. Hey, thank you so much for joining me on this Friday for Fiverr new features and Q&A. Maybe I'll start doing this every now and then. I've actually thought about adding in video, kind of gig video reactions on these videos where I'll watch a few gig videos, give you some reactions in real time, kind of like gig reviews, but not quite as in depth. all these things I'd love to hear your opinion about. And of course, as always, if you have a question, leave it for me in the comments down below. I'm here every single Friday answering your questions. I love ending my day like this. I love doing this with you. And thank you so much for joining me. As always, my name is Joel, and this is Fiverr Talks. I'll see you next time. Hey, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed this content, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. You can subscribe for more videos right over there, and there's actually a playlist of videos right there that would really be great for you if you're looking for more tips on how to become a top-rated seller on Fiverr. So until next time, keep doing, because the future favors the doers.